Come on, Facebook. Hey everyone, welcome to another recording session of the Polite Society podcast presented by the Second Amendment Foundation. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. And we're going to be going here in just a second. I want to first of all introduce you to the people that are going to be working with me tonight. And the condolences need to go to Charlie Cook and Tom Knighton. Charlie, of course, riding shotgun with Charlie, writing shotgun with Charlie, and Charlie's Gungrams, and about a million other things. If you're anywhere on the internet, it's got something to do with guns. You'll probably find Charlie somewhere close. And then also Tom Knighton is with us. Tom is what I call the attitude from Bearing Arms. All you need to do is read the first paragraph of the story. If it's got attitude in it, Tom wrote it. You don't even look to see. You don't have to look to see if it's Cam Edwards or Ajit Singh or John Petrolino who wrote it. If it's got attitude and it's got attitude in abundance, Tom's the one that wrote it. So,
aw, shucks.
Holy echoes! Why are am I echoing? Do you guys hear an echo from me? I'm getting comments. I'm getting comments that we are getting echoes. Let me look into that briefly. Let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm recording into Alexandria Cortez's ear.
She needs
My
to tune
apologies.
in. She needs to tune into this. Absolutely, she does. All right.
Understand the words.
Yeah. What was that? What was that movie? It was a late '80s, early '90s movies. Can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Rush Hour.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
This one for Jackie Chan.
There we go.
All right.
And the fact that I can call that off the top of my head is kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the age we are, dude.
The sad age. I gotta say, I've never seen Rush Hour or Rush Hour 2 or 3.
I've only seen I've seen Rush Hour 1, but let's face it, I was in my late 20s and maybe chemically enhanced, and so I don't remember much about it except for that coming out of the promo for the movie.
I've seen it a few times because I like odd pairings. And I really became a fan of Chris Tucker after The Fifth Element, so I've actually a few times.
All right, guys.
It's fun. It's goofy.
I think we are ready to do a show here. So let me. Where am I at? What do I need to have up?
Show notes.
I got show notes somewhere here.
Record button.
Record button is actually automatic when I have Masad Ayub start talking. And by the way, I just said Masad Ayub, so gotta hit that. All right, where is my show notes? There they are. All right, here we go. And you're gonna notice something a little bit different when we start this off. I'm going to say I'm going to start things off and hang on. If those of you who are regular viewers, regular listeners also are going to notice something different about how the way this works. So here we go. Masad Ayub. In 5, 4, 3.
Hey gang, this is Masad Ayub from the Pro Arms Podcast. I'm here to remind you that our podcast is a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network, and I'm going to suggest you do what we do and check out the other podcasts at selfdefenseradio.net.
Treat every firearm as if it's loaded.
Never point a firearm at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy.
Keep your finger off the trigger until you are on target and ready to fire.
Always be sure of your target and what lies beyond it.
Welcome to the Polite Society podcast for Monday, August 21st, 2023. Your hosts tonight are Paul Lathrop and Charlie Cook. Although Tom Knighton of Bearing Arms was scheduled to be an interview guest tonight, he has agreed to be subjected to Paul and Charlie for the entire show. So climb aboard, strap in, and hang on. Episode 673 of the Polite Society podcast starts right now.
Hey, and welcome to the Second Amendment Foundation's Polite Society podcast. This one for October 21st, 2023. We're working on episode 673. Doing a little bit different things. You're going to notice that audio works a little bit differently in the show today. Normally at this point I would go, Rob, what have you been doing for the past week? Well, Rob is underwater in Egypt or Israel or somewhere near the Black Sea. So he's not with us. So I would normally then throw to John. John is doing the grandparent thing. John's not here. So I'm going to go to Charlie. I'm going to say, Charlie, it's been a while since you've been on Polite Society. What have you been up to recently, dude?
It has been a while since I've been on. I've had some classes, which have been keeping me busy on the weekends. And the last week, I had to take a trip down to Nashville. And while I was down in Tennessee, I filmed 2 shows. And I filmed 1 show in West Virginia on my way home. So last week was kind of a travel week for me. And then this weekend, I just, I don't want to say I hung out and took it easy. I ended up editing a show. And then this weekend is, it's work, work, work.
Yeah, and I got to say, I had to do a double take here real quick as I put your screen solo up. I thought you said you had some class, and I thought, Charlie, class? I don't know about that.
Right. You're like school at 2 o'clock in the morning. No class.
Tom, everybody, Tom's going to be hanging out for the entire show with us. I've already introduced you, Tom, but if you would please just let everybody know what you've been up to recently. Of course, you've never been on Polite Society before, so you can't go back to birth, but for the last week or two, what have you been up to, man?
About 5'8". Yeah, I've been doing a lot of writing. Been working on my own YouTube channel, The Fourth Rail. Everyone go subscribe right now. And, get on that. I want.
All right, yeah, and if you don't subscribe to Tom's web show, you need to. The Fourth Rail, it's good stuff. I will include in a little bit when I've got time and I don't have my own face on the screen. I'll search for it. I'll get a link and I'll put it in the comments section so y'all can go after this show is over and look at his show. Let's go ahead.
Yes, it looks like it's the Fourth Rail, not Fourth Rail, because I typed in the Fourth Rail and the first thing came up was Fourth Rail, and I'm like, he's not talking about trains in England. So,
yeah, no.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
On my end, the final, and I'm going to put air quotes up here, final preparations for AmCon and GRPC are this week. Well, actually, the final conference calls for AmCon and GRPC are this week. We're coming up on what? We're 4 weeks away.
Five
2,
weeks.
3, 4, 5 weeks from this Friday is AmCon, and GRPC follows that night and the weekend. So, yeah, coming up quickly. And I want to mention, if you are in Second Amendment Media and you're going to be in Phoenix for Gun Rights Policy Conference, get there a day early. Attend AmCon on Friday. The website is up, amcon.org, AMMCON.org, and register. It's just like GRPC. It's absolutely totally free. SAF will even buy your lunch for you, and you'll get all kinds of help. One of the major things we're working on this year is branding. And you'll get lots of help with branding. You'll get lots of help with all kinds of things surrounding your media. So join us if you can Friday. And if you can't join us, it will be broadcast live. In the same places you're watching this right now, that Friday you can watch AmCon. So let's go ahead and step aside to break. When we come back, we're going to do an interview segment with Tom. We're going to be talking about a lot of the things he's been writing recently. And we'll be right back with that right after we hear from ACLDN. So right back right after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. If you carry a defensive handgun, you need protection from the aftermath of prosecution. Even if you do everything right, you can be the victim of an overzealous prosecutor or even be falsely accused. That is where the ACLDN comes in. They provide immediate assistance when you need it most. If you find yourself under arrest, they immediately pay bail money and the retainer for your attorney. Additional funds are available for trial and civil proceedings. Beyond the money, they have far and away the best team in the industry, providing you invaluable information and training DVDs that are included with your membership and who stand ready to work with your lawyer on your defense. People like Masad Ayub, John Farnham, James Fleming, Tom Gibbons, Emmanuel Capelson, Dennis Tuller, and led by network president Marty Hayes. Initial membership is only $135 for your first year, and you get 8 incredible training DVDs and other educational material when you join. If you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to defend yourself at your disposal right now, you need to be a member of the ACLDN. Go to armedcitizensnetwork.org and become a member today. And please mention that you heard about them on the Polite Society podcast.
All right, I want to start off our interview segment with Tom Knighton of BearingArms.com by getting a comment in here. Dana, who is the guy that writes our DGUs, says, I want to be Tom Knighton when I grow up. So
you should aim higher. Example of a bad example. So.
Well, everybody's got to be an example on something. So, Tom,
I decided to aim low.
It could be a good example or a bad example, but everyone's an example somehow.
I want to talk about a few stories, and we've got one of your stories coming up in the news segment tonight, Tom. But I want to talk about one of them that just posted earlier today. Lee's red flag proposal isn't as moderate as some argue. I'm going to leave it totally in your space there. Why is it? I mean, everybody's saying this is, there's court things here. There's a lot of things where this isn't as bad as some red flag laws. Why is it not moderate, Tom? I'll leave that to you.
Well, because it's still ultimately a weight gun from somebody who hasn't actually done anything wrong. The worst thing you can actually say these people have done is made someone uncomfortable. The idea that Lee's law proposal should pass moderate, you have to accept the premise that you're justified taking a gun away from somebody who hasn't actually done anything wrong. That's what it really boils down. And I'm sorry, but it's still an infringement on our rights, and anything that's an infringement on our rights cannot be moderate. It is, by definition, radical. I don't care how you try to sugarcoat it. The New York Times referred to this as moderate. To me, that's completely asinine because it's still taking guns away from, like I said, who haven't done anything wrong. Yes, Lee's proposal deals with due process arguments. It addresses those in a way that makes that seem not so bad. Well, taking a gun away from somebody who, if he is that dangerous, you're still letting him walk around on the streets. I'm sorry, Timothy McVeigh did some pretty horrible things without needing a firearm.
Well, and calling it moderate might be almost like saying this person is not done anything wrong, they're a danger to themselves and others, so instead of the death penalty, we'll lock them up for life without parole. That's moderate, right?
Well, it's more moderate than capital punishment. Absolutely. It's kind of a sliding scale in this regard, and to me it's just absolutely idiotic to sit here and go, well, this is moderate. We come together on this. My friend, a good friend of mine, goes on the internet by the name Law Dog, came up with a great analogy. All right, and it was, there's a cake. That's our gun rights. And someone comes and goes, I want your, we can't have my cake. Okay, well, give me part of your cake. Your compromise will give me part of your cake. So we cut the cake in half. That was the NFA. Then they come a little while later and go, I want your cake. You can't have my cake. And it keeps whittling down the size of our cake. We're not giving up our cake anymore. We want our damn cake back. And now suddenly we're radicals. We want what we gave, that we were assured would make better, so much safer, and they didn't. And that's all this is. It's just another infringement. Today, it's, well, people who may be a danger or others. If they're that much of a danger, there's a 5150 hold. Every state has it on the books. You can hold someone in a psychiatric facility for 72 hours for evaluation. Oh, there's not enough grounds for that? Then how is there grounds for taking their guns?
Amen. Amen. Let me get a comment in here. Warsaw Patriot says red flag laws only endanger the public. People like Duncan Lemp in Maryland got swatted from people who made a false claim. Last time I checked, swatting is a federal and state crime. Is a crime, federal and state. And that's to me, that is one of the major dangers, Tom, of red flag laws, no matter how moderate they claim to be, is it's still, anybody can make a claim, and then the judge is more likely than not going to accept a false claim, because the downside of saying, no, I don't think this person is a danger, and then that person being a danger is so high that the judge's career may as well be over. So they're always going to err on the side of taking away our rights.
And some people will say there's no such, there won't be false claims, but we've already had one case in Colorado where a police officer was of a claim filed by a woman who claimed to be his partner. She was in fact the mother of a kid who the officer killed in a suicide cop situation. It was ruled a good shoot, but the mother still had a grudge. She decided to claim that they were partners and he was the danger. And she tried to get his gun rights taken away from him to punish him for shooting her son, despite the fact pointing a gun at him. Now, that particular case, it was high profile enough. The situation was documented enough. It never went. In fact, she ended up being sent to prison correctly. But that's one case where we know this happened. How many cases have people had their gun rights stripped because someone made an off-color joke, or someone with dark humor, or just
dark humor in the gun world? You don't say.
Shocking.
Oh. I didn't have dark humor. Then I enlisted. It turned out it was in my CBAN boot camp.
Yeah, they issue it when you, yes. With the boots, you get the dark humor as well.
Exactly.
I got to say, I absolutely love the cake analogy, because we want to have our own cake, and they want to take it with the NFA. They want to take it with the 1968. They want to take it with 1986. Now they want to take it with everything else that they have coming down the pike. No, and it's just taking our cake and cutting it smaller and smaller and smaller and leaving us with nothing. And then they give us the Catholic guilt, even though these people probably aren't Catholic, and give us the Catholic guilt of, oh, come on, let's compromise. Compromise on what? I'm getting nothing, and I'm giving up. And I'm giving up more, and I'm giving up more, and I'm giving up more, and I'm getting nothing in return.
Exactly. Yeah, I resent the term compromise, because it never is a compromise. It's we'll take less than one. That's not a compromise.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should be when they say all we want is to ban assault weapons, or all we want is a red flag law. That's all they want today. As soon as it passes, all right, let's say for Tennessee passes the red flag law, the very next day, every gun control group is going to run out their next bit of legislation policy that they want, and it'll be something else. It'll always shift. It'll always be something new. You know, all we're allowed is a slingshot so long as we're only firing with it.
Well, and one place where a compromise has led to another compromise has led to another compromise, and gun rights are basically gone, is the United Kingdom. I also noticed, Tom, you've got a story up today. UK gun groups under fire for giving guidance to members, and one of the I love this the story you get your sourcing from off of the Guardian. The quote from the Guardian is "the powerful UK gun lobby," and that's an oxymoron,
right,
dude. That is absolutely an oxymoron, dude.
Yeah, it's hilarious because the gun control groups actually do act like with the American gun lobby, with the pro-gun rights groups we have, and the second protections that we and challenge all the time. They act happening in the UK, and I'm sitting here going, dude, you can't own anything more powerful than a stapler and have it in your home.
Well, and
how is it that powerful?
When Tom and I get together, we joke a lot, but this is not a joke. They have knife restrictions in the United Kingdom. If you are a professional chef, you must register your knives.
Yeah, what's the old Robin Williams line? He said the English police say stop, or I'll yell stop again.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you talk about this powerful gun lobby, and yet we routinely sim UK police on social media sharing about how confiscated butter knives. There are children's utensil sets, right? Children's utensil sets that have the knife that you couldn't turn into a prison shank if you tried. Those it's like can only sell to over X age. And you're like, the spoon is more dangerous than the knife, for God's sake.
Well, I do not think this is going to get us kicked off of YouTube, but if it does, everybody head over to Facebook when the screen goes blank. But I've got right here. I've got a knife that I use at my desk every day. Most recently, I used it to open a can of energy drink. So, because my fingernails will bust off if I try to get my fingers under those damn tabs. But
is that a black knife, Paul? Because that would make it an assault
it's the assault knife.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very well could be. And I'm only holding it so high because if I hold it a lot higher, there's a much greater likelihood that YouTube will cut the feed simply because the handle of the knife looks like a 1911. So
I took a knife fighting course a number of years ago, and the instructor was telling us that he had someone in the class with him that had a knife. I think he was in somewhere where he wasn't supposed to have a knife, or they were prohibited or some such nonsense. Anyway, so the police ended up pulling the guy over, found out he had a knife. The knife was the legal length. It was like 2.5 inches. But what the police decided to do was, since the knife was serrated, he measured the serrated edges and counted that and said it was longer than the length that they were supposed to carry. How ridiculous is that?
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, it's
I want to say
completely.
I heard that.
So what is Tom? What is this?
Did he have?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, how much free time did the cop have? Anyways,
look, the
Paul.
longer he's measuring a knife, the less he's going to have to do other work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Tom, so what did the powerful gun lobby in the UK do that's got the press in Britain all up in arms?
Well, Britain changed some laws after the mass shooting in Plymouth, where mass shootings never happened, but then happened. One of the things they did was they tried the questions. People have to answer a series of questions before they buy a firearm. Not quite like the 4473, a little more pro-think. I don't remember what the exact questions are, but the gun rights groups there in the UK just have a list of how to answer them. That's it. That's what they did.
So what they're saying is when they ask if you are a felon, if you've committed serious crimes, you answer no. That's what these gun groups are doing, and that's what, I mean, common sense kind of stuff, and that's what the press is all up in arms about.
And stuff like, do you intend to use this firearm like 15 people? No. I mean,
So
what's going to answer that question honestly what they actually do?
So 14's the limit?
Sure. 14's the limit. You got to know where the line is, man. You just got to know where it's at. But no, I don't remember what the exact questions are, but they just provided guidance on how to answer the questions, to not ruin chances of being able to obtain a firearm. And the gun control groups there are like, oh, this is the most thing. And one of them, I think one gun control, I can't remember if it was a member of one of the groups or members of Parliament, they've gotten the wrong lessons from the Plymouth shooting. Well, I don't know that. They've got the messages pretty good. The gun can work with the damn, so let's quit playing the game. That's the limit.
And Tom, I want to talk about one more, and I'm just reading it now. So when I'm looking off camera, that's what I'm doing, is I'm reading Tom's story. This one actually hit just a little bit ago. Chicago alderman has brain-dead idea to curb shootings. The idea this alderman has, a Chicago politician, a community group desperate to slow the city's spiraling gun crime problem, is begging for, get this, 12 hours a day where people don't shoot their guns. Alder Maria Haddon, a Democrat, boosted a proposal by the group Native Sons calling for the People's Ordinance, a ceasefire between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Protect the youth, no sliding while the sun is out, reads the all-caps promo titled United for a Safe Summer. They're asking for the refrain from gunshots to reduce the risk to Chicagoans who are not involved in high-risk activities. We have to start somewhere, Tatiana Atkins, co-founder of Native Sons, told WCB Chicago. Our goal is to approach the city's gun violence problem strategically and not all at once. Things don't become this way overnight. They won't change overnight. But no, of course they won't change overnight because this is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., not overnight. So, yeah, I mean, Tom, they're even going after the wrong time of day. You got to go say, please, yeah, Mr. Gun Guy, could you not shoot anybody between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. when most shootings occur? They're just going about it the wrong way, man.
Yeah, it's really insane. A lot of people have actually likened this to the purge. That's not entirely accurate because they're not making it legal to shoot from 10 to 9 a.m. They're just, so you're going to be restricted to killing each other during that time frame. I'm pretty sure someone's going to face a murder charge is not going to go, I really want to kill OB, but till the night, because I do not want a misdemeanor charge.
Yeah.
I do not want to violate a city order. I don't mind killing 7 people, but, I don't want to cross the city.
Right, a bad man's taking the Dirty Harry and twisting it. A bad man's got to know his limits, right?
Let me get some. Let me get some comments in here because we've got some awesome ones that just came in. What that guy is recommending is a gang war gun truce. Yeah, that's not going to work. And then Robert, I may have, by the way, Robert, did he say Utes? I may have. Spartan 6.
2-1.
Yeah, that'll work out great for Chicago. How could it not? And let's see here. Let me get one more from... two more. I'm going to get one from MK. MK says, after 9 is when the vampires come out. And
Edgar Winter said it best when he performed. They only come out at night.
And then let me get one more from Warsaw Patriot. Gang members have even shot people who are kids just because they wear a different colored T-shirt than that of other rival gang members wear. Yeah. You do not want to be caught. You could be caught dead, but you do not want to be in Los Angeles, or I'm guessing Chicago, with either a plain red, or a plain blue, or for that matter, a plain black T-shirt. Because if you're in the wrong neighborhood, yeah. All right, let's do this, guys. We're getting down there towards the bottom of the hour. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. When we come back, news segment. And one more of Tom's stories is going to be up in that news segment, as well as some more out of Nashville. We'll get back to that when we hear from the Complete Combatant. We'll be back after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant is designed for a broad base of citizens that range from students that don't own a gun on up to advanced students that train often. The Complete Combatant offers several different courses that build upon each other, from avoidance, using verbal commands, and preparing for contact, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, your 911 call, interacting with the police, to even dealing with the legal system in the aftermath. The Complete Combatant courses are a layered approach for all levels of experience that will walk you through all the many stages of decisions while developing a game plan tailored to your skills and your everyday carry. Please visit www.thecompletecombatant.com and make sure you mention this ad to receive 15% off. Again, that's www.thecompletecombatant.com and mention the ad for 15% off.
All right, welcome back. This is a news segment of the Polite Society podcast presented by the Second Amendment Foundation. This is, again, where the show's going to sound a little different than it has in the past for you podcast listeners. And for people who are watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, it'll also sound different, but that's a visual medium. I'm just kind of warning people who listen on podcast, hold on to your hats, because you're about to get 3 stories that are going to be read correctly and understandably. Here's the first one out of Nashville.
Others, law enforcement officers, and survivors of violence spoke Monday on why they oppose demands for more gun control ahead of the special legislative session on public safety. D.C. Project Women for Gun Rights, a nationwide organization of women committed to safeguarding the Second Amendment, held a news conference at 12:30 p.m. on Monday. Ashley Britt, director of the Tennessee chapter of Women for Gun Rights, said everyone wants to make our communities safe. But to her, stricter gun laws won't make that happen. Our hearts break after every senseless tragedy, especially when we know there are meaningful and effective solutions that can make our community safe, Britt said. But inevitably after a tragedy, the gun control lobby immediately turns the conversation to more laws and more restrictions. It's time to look at the evidence and acknowledge the truth. These policies are failures and do not produce the desired results. Gun control policies sound like a good idea, but make it difficult for citizens to defend themselves, which emboldens criminals, increases violence, and makes our community less safe.
What's interesting to me about that story, that's off WSMV.com. That's a mainstream radio station in the Nashville area. This is not off a pro-gun site such as Bearing Arms, such as Keep and Bear Arms, which is the SAF's news website. This is off mainstream media, so to speak. So good on them. And Amanda, who's with us several Monday nights, Amanda is with the DC project down there. Sounds like they're getting some good traction done down there, guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
This is definitely a great thing. I've noticed this with reading some stories about what's going on here in Massachusetts. They always put the pro-gun stuff at the very end after they have paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of the anti-gun stuff, and then they slide in the pro-gun stuff like, oh, yeah, well, it's fair and balanced, and, we're putting in both sides, and what's what I'm looking for? It's by, what do they call it when both parties agree on stuff? They both get support?
Consensus?
Who cares?
Bipartisan?
No, when both houses agree on something. Who cares? It's nice. Bipartisan. There we go. Thank you. It's nice to see that there's a story that's just given the pro-gun side.
Yeah. I got to get a comment
for the
in
record,
here.
Charlie, the reason they structure it that way is they know that people have a finite, and they're not going to read that down in the story most of the time.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Totally.
I gotta get this comment in because from Mike Piwowarski, that's a name that if you follow the bullet, Mike's been with me many times. You got my ex to read the stories. Nice. Glad the cold woman could get some work. Yeah.
Nice, Mike.
Got to get this one in too. All you military people or former military people will understand this. When both houses agree, it's called bohica.
Indeed.
Bend over, here it comes again, baby.
Yeah, I think the worst part is the again part because you know it happened once before.
To which CNT Designs and Arms says, that's rough. Yeah, our listeners are taking us off the rails. I love this.
I'm so glad
you
it's
can't
not
blame
me
me this
time.
All right. Let me see here. Yeah, we're all good. Let's go on to our next story. This one is a Tom Knighton story, and I got to hit that button and then this
Internet
button.
videos are alarming to some, thrilling to others. Gun enthusiasts spraying bullets from AR-15 style rifles equipped with an aftermarket trigger, allowing them to shoot seemingly as fast as fully automatic weapons. The force reset triggers so concerned the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives that it ordered the company making them to halt sales only months after they began in 2020, declaring the devices illegal machine guns. Rare Breed Triggers, founded in Florida and now based in Fargo, North Dakota, said the ATF was wrong and kept selling its FRT-15 triggers, setting the stage for a legal battle now in federal courts in New York and Texas. The triggers are the latest rapid-fire gun accessories to draw scrutiny from government officials worried about mass shootings and police officer safety, joining bump stocks, which were banned by the Trump administration after the 2017 mass shooting in Las Vegas that killed 60 people, and cheap parts called auto sears that can make a pistol fire as if it were fully automatic. The defendants are illegally selling machine guns, plain and simple, with conversion devices that transform AR-15 type rifles into even more lethal weapons suited for battlefields, not our communities, Breon Peace, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, said when he sued Rare Breed in January, accusing the company of fraud.
My first comment here is the ATF does not have the legal authority, and force reset, the company making force reset triggers is absolutely correct. That's Congress's purview to say what is legal and not legal. Right. That is not up to the ATF.
The National Firearms Act explicitly says full auto or a machine gun. It basically says it guns that will fire a round with more than one round with a single pull of the trigger. Force reset does not permit that. It does not. It is one trigger pull, and then it forces the reset so you can pull the trigger faster.
Yep.
Bump stocks did not require facilitate more than one round with a single pull of the trigger. Force reset triggers do not. Neither of those should be restricted. The ATF does not have the authority to just decide unilaterally to change the law, which is exactly done on the.
Absolutely.
I hate to sound like Rob Campbell, but we still haven't seen any video from the Vegas shooting to know that they were using a bump stock.
You know what? You're right. And the
out.
video I have seen from the Las Vegas shooting, there are two rapid fire things happening. One of them absolutely a different tone than the other one and much quicker. The other one a lower, higher pitch tone and a little bit slower. So it's hard for me to believe one person can fire two bump stocks.
Bump stocks. Well, I don't know. I'm sure you guys have had the opportunity to play with a bump stock. I had the opportunity once. You have to hold the grip and push the forend. Unless this guy's like, what's the General Grievous from Star Wars, and he's got 4 arms, he's not going to be able to do that.
I did think up one thing in my head how that could be happened. A bipod, and initially shoot the window through so the window is gone. Stick the bipods out of the window and pull back using bipods. But you gotta find the exact right area on both.
Right.
So yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say with the force triggers in both, if we're just going to declare that the violation violates the NFA simply because it fires fast and most people can fire, then someone needs to register Jerry Mitchell.
Oh, we've got comments. Let me get to comments. But let me get to comments here real quick. This is CNT Designs and Arms Coop. The definition of a machine gun is now it shoots fast. To which Robert replied, "Is Jerry Mikulik a machine gun?" And
I'd argue not by law, but kinda.
Yeah,
he's a machine.
Well, if he shoots fast, yes, but he only pulls the trigger once per round.
Let me get this one in here. Let me go back to Coop. Jerry Mikulik better cut his trigger fingers off. Well, Coop, I'm going to say this. If he cut his trigger fingers off, he would then have to resort to the next set of fingers. I'm not going to point them at the camera, but I would say that would slow him down for all of 30 minutes until he learned muscle memory with these fingers.
Right. I did see a video that Jerry did a few years ago, and it was after something happened with an AR, and ARs are M16s and full autos and blah, all this nonsense. Somebody fired, I don't know if Jerry did this with an M16 or then an AR-15, or they had, and that I guess, if you're thinking scientifically, that'd be the fairest thing to do. But anyway, Jerry went up against 10 rounds of full auto, and the 10 rounds of full auto was a little faster than Jerry was. However, Jerry was more accurate.
Little.
It surprised me.
Yes, a little. But he was more accurate than a full auto M16.
Yeah.
So
we have to remember, though, that Jerry Mitchell is technically a superhero.
Oh, absolutely. The dude should wear a cape.
He's not
more than Superman.
He's not a normal.
I'd say more than Superman, more than Spider-Man, even more than Deadpool.
So
Data said he wanted to be me when he grew up. I want to be Jerry.
Yes.
So here's the thought. Let's say you are Jerry Michalek, and you can shoot fast, and you've obviously proven this time and time and time again with all of the world records he's broken. Is he able to carry a defensive gun? Because if he's trained himself to pull the trigger a lot of times in a row, I think that would, I don't know. I think if I was a competitive shooter and I was that good, then I would probably not carry, because it could be held against me if I ever had to use a gun in defense.
I would definitely carry.
For using the machine gun.
Repeat that,
say
Tom.
that-
You were a little low.
I said, well, the ATF would arrest him for using a machine gun.
Yeah.
This is true. We saw, what was that? What was the cartoon? Like, we saw a flash right out of the sky. We heard a machine gun, and then we saw Jerry Michalak.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
C&T again. Coop made a comment. Charlie, I think that full auto was an auto AK.
Maybe I can't remember. I thought it was an AR, but that's all right. Whatever. It's still makes the point that Jerry's pretty darn quick.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And I want to get this one in from Warsaw Patriot. He just commented the Glock switches. That's a different deal. A Glock switch does actually make a Glock handgun full auto. And that is illegal.
Those are illegal by NFA.
Now, let me ask you guys this. I assume you guys have been to a gun show or two in your day. I think I remember the first few gun shows I went to, I was a little taken aback by all the stuff that you see. And I mean all the stuff you see, right? All the world, and I'm using code to say this, all the World War II stuff that you would see. But I do remember some photocopied books that had like a blue cover and a red cover and a yellow cover, and they were legit, like somebody stood at a copy machine and copied these and stapled them together, and it was a book that said how to convert your Glock to full auto, how to convert your AR to full auto. And I used to sit there and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody would want to do this. And now I think, oh my gosh, I wish I would have picked one of those up 15 to 20 years ago.
Right.
Right? Are you saying you have tendencies Charlie, are you saying you have tendencies to do things that are a little bit less than legal at times?
I'm saying I saw those books as a little bit of freedom, and it kind of scared me a little bit, and I wish I would have bought one.
Freedom is scary.
I say live free or die.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, maybe I will go to the next gun show and the local gun show, and if they have these books, then maybe I will purchase one with cash.
Johnny's going to be with you, huh?
Not used.
You're going to have Johnny with you, Charlie?
John, Mr. Petrolino.
I was thinking cash myself.
Oh, gotcha. No. Cash, like dead presidents.
Uh-huh.
You could try John Petrolino for one too. They'll go for it, guys. By all means.
All right. Last story. This one off of MRC Media Research Council, mrctv.org. This one, yeah, it'll get your blood boiling, but you should not be shocked by it. Hey, here's this one.
Socialist Squad up in D.C. has spent years squawking about the dangers of firearms in the hands of law-abiding Americans while simultaneously pushing to defund the police who exist to help said defenseless people, throwing a 1-2 blow at Americans' ability to stave off violent attackers. All, it turns out, while forking out more than $1.2 million in private security for themselves. For example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York, who has repeatedly voted to strip Americans of their right to own vaguely defined assault weapons, has shelled out nearly $273,000 in campaign funds for security since taking office in 2019. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, has spent $125,683.75 on security over those same 4 years. Ayanna Pressley, Democrat, Massachusetts, has spent $64,763, while Rashida Tlaib, Democrat, Michigan, has shucked out $20,480. But perhaps the worst offender in this latest installment of hypocrisy, they name as leftism, is Representative Cori Bush, a Democrat from Missouri who inanely rambled back in May that Second Amendment supporters have a nihilistic, insurrectionist view of gun rights and called for a public health response to the public health emergency that is gun violence in our country.
So, and getting to the comment I've got up on the screen, Robert wants to know from that last story, Charlie, what was the name of the book?
I don't remember, but there were a lot of these books. And legit, like, they look like somebody stood at a copy machine and made copies and stapled them and folded them over. And they were, I don't know, they were selling them for like $8 or $12. I know, right? And I was like, oh, this must be illegal. I don't know if I want to have one of those. And now, again, I wish I did.
So if you run across that time machine, you're going to go back and shake yourself, tell yourself, buy that book.
Buy that book and invest in Apple. Absolutely.
And MK says, Charlie is being red flagged at the moment.
Probably.
This is a story simply exposing hypocrisy. I'm going to take your guns away, but I'm going to have lots of people with guns protecting me.
Right.
I guess,
and oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, because,
Senator,
the
same thing.
What's that, Tom?
One of my senators, Raphael Warnock, does the exact same thing. He's paid for priority on the campaign dime and on our dime, and all while trying to disarm me for not being able to outsource my personal security.
Yeah. And this, it should not shock anybody. AOC, who, my opinion, is the biggest bigot of them all there, has the biggest $273,000 in campaign funds for her private security. So if you're shelling out $50 to her to get reelected, well, that's a lot of that is probably going to her security service. So
actually, one of those people that they're calling security is actually just a person who reminds her how to breathe, because she didn't have the brain power to do it on her own.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Hence the attitude, ladies and gentlemen. Hence the attitude.
All right,
I'm a people person.
This red and blue book thing will not die. We're getting comments still.
Oh my gosh.
Robert says you can find anarchistic cookbooks online in PDF format, constitutionally protected as free speech. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I 110% support that.
I have a friend that has
go
ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say P.A. Luty's book on built a submachine gun from like hardware parts. Still considered protected under free speech. God bless America.
Nice. A couple books that people might want to possibly see if they can find. I've got a friend that has I think it's called the Poor Man's James Bond book. And it's very much the same as the Anarchist Cookbook. It's how to use homemade items as lethal force tools.
Get this one in from Dana. Dana says Cori Bush is paying her husband for security.
Wonderful.
Security.
Yeah.
Right.
MK says, wonder if security is related. Can you say misappropriated? Yes, I believe that is a good. All right. Let's see here. One more. CNT Coop says, I forgot Tom was in Georgia. Sorry for your loss, brother.
Right.
So, okay, guys, let's go ahead.
Then just everything.
Let's go ahead. We're going to jump to our break here. I want to get to our DGU segment, and we've got a couple of really good ones today. First one out of Texarkana, Texas. But we got to jump to our break first. We'll be right back, right after we hear from JPFO. Back after this.
It all failed before. Alcohol prohibition brought us organized crime, and no less alcohol. Drug prohibition brought us murderous, no-knock, wrong house raids.
Police! Search warrant!
No, wait! The crack house is next door!
Now gun prohibitionists want laws to lead us down that same path. Don't Americans ever learn? Just ask yourself, isn't government the only beneficiary of police-state policies? Brought to you by Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. Information available at jpfo.org.
All right, we are back. This is our defensive gun use segment of the Polite Society podcast, presented by the Second Amendment Foundation. And here is the disclaimer for this segment.
These discussions are not legal advice. Some of us are trainers, but this is not formal training, and you need formal training. The defensive gun use segment is intended as information, not as training. As always, the opinions of the hosts are only their own opinions and not those of any sponsors or other affiliations.
Although they should be. They certainly should be. Let's go ahead and we're going to get into our first one out of Texarkana, Texas.
Texarkana, Texas. There have been a number of stories over the last few months of ex-boyfriends confronting their ex-girlfriends in parking lots. In a case we had in DGU's, a woman and a friend defended themselves when she arrived at the daycare center she worked at. A few weeks ago, Amber Jo Thomas, 40, was fatally shot at 11:30 a.m. as she arrived at work. She was shot by her ex-boyfriend, who attempted to flee but got in a head-on crash and was stopped by a witness. Ms. Thomas had a PPO against the killer. In Texarkana, a woman walked to her car to go to work at 6:30 a.m. She noticed her former boyfriend standing between a couple cars across the parking lot. He was waiting for her to come out, ready to pounce. She tried to hurry and get in her car before he could get to her, but she was not successful. He was able to pull the door back open. He made some comment about how she was addressed. He then attacked her as she sat behind the steering wheel. During the struggle, he attempted to shave her head with a set of electric clippers he had in his hand. She suffered several cuts on her forehead and neck from the clippers. While he was attacking her and attempting to shave her head, she grabbed her gun from the console and fired one shot in his direction. She believed she had wounded him because he stumbled and fell several times as he tried to flee. She immediately called 911. He was found several minutes later by Texarkana firefighters after he exited his hiding place in an enclosed patio behind a nearby apartment and started yelling for help. He had a gunshot wound to the torso. He was transported to a hospital and underwent surgery to have the projectile removed from his body. During the investigation, Detective Alan Bailey determined he WS'd the aggressor and she acted in self-defense. Once the suspect has been released from the hospital, he will be arrested for warrants for stalking and aggravated assault. This is to go with the 3 felony probation revocation warrants he already had.
We get this comment up. Dana, who writes up these DGUs for us, says, that guy makes my writing sound pretty good. Better than I do. I'll tell you what. On this one, again, the 3 felony probation revocation warrants he already had, and big shock, the guy goes off on a former girlfriend and tries to comments about how she's dressed, tries to shave her head. Thank goodness she had a gun right next to her and could use it.
Oh, yeah. Some demented behavior.
Charlie, what's your thoughts, man?
People need to be careful with who they date and who you get yourself involved with. Like, really, we hear these stories all the time about women that get involved with a man who loses his stuff, goes a little crazy at the woman and then tries to attack her. How do these women meet these guys? I mean, I don't want to know, maybe. Probably.
It reminds me of something.
That's what happens when you get your boyfriend off Wish.com.
There we go.
It was a guy telling a woman she should consider applying for the police department. And she's like, why would I want to do that? He's like, well, after the same minute, at least this way you get paid for it.
Oh, my gosh. And I don't want to be, accusing the, accusing the victim at all. But
no,
this is nuts. This guy's trying to shave her head. Holy crap, man! This guy is off his rocker.
Like who does that? Even a lot of stalkers. That seems. It's like if you put this guy in a room with a bunch of stalkers and he told them what they did, you'd be like, dude, that's messed up.
Yeah.
When you look at a stalker's going, dude, you stay over there. You stay on over there.
When the crazy people think you're crazy, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But
this is weapons grade crazy.
Yeah, right. But again, it's good she had a gun, and she was able to protect herself.
One thing I'm going to say about this one is I wish it was in the center, so she had to go to her gun to get in the car. If you would have caught her before she got to the car, she would not have had that gun. I'd have rather seen her carry that firearm on her body. That's the only thing I can say tactically about this one.
Yeah, I mean this is why it's important for people to train, for people to read books by. You got the sound ready?
I do.
Books by Masada Yu and other people that are defense oriented, and this is why you have to have continuing education. Buying a gun and keeping it in your house and buying 10 rounds of ammunition is not going to help you at all. It's not going to help you at all. You have to have some training. You have to have some education, and you have to have these defensive tools near you, so that people don't know when bad things are going to happen. And I'm going to say, after reading these stories, if you date crazy people, they're more likely to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Was she leaving work when this happened again? I don't recall.
Yes.
So
yeah, going to start
another
in the morning.
We'd also need to advocate for being able to carry it in our work.
Yeah. Carrying inside the workplace, yes.
Because that was probably why it was in the center console, was that her workplace wouldn't allow her to have it on her. That could have cost her life. Because I guarantee you, somebody that crazy who's going to clear your dress and try to shave your head, you cannot trust that that's where it's going to end.
No.
Oh my God!
And
absolutely
so,
not.
yeah. So I think that's probably why she made that tactical decision. It was a case of, well, my job. I need my job, and if I'm going to get caught with it on the job, then I'm going to need it out, in between the front door of the car, etc. And this isn't the only time we've seen. There was a one Virginia Beach municipal building shooting. There was a woman who worked in the building who actually feared there would be a mass shooting that day. She thought somebody else would commit it, but she was sure that would happen. Her husband said, well, why don't you carry your gun to work? And she was worried about losing her job, and instead she lost her life. So another side of this is being able to advocate for workplace carry.
Amen.
I know we were on Tennessee about the red flag law stuff earlier, but a few years ago, didn't Tennessee have some? I think it was at least a bill that they proposed that said if you are going to prohibit people from carrying into your business, then you have to be liable for their safety. So if you couldn't carry at Home Depot, and there was a mass shooting at Home Depot would be held liable for the deaths and the expenses of medical costs and whatnot. And if this parlays right into the gun was in her. That really makes sense that you brought that up, Tom, because why would her gun be in the console and not on her? Because she couldn't carry at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That proposed law did not make it. That bill did not make it all the way to law. It's a good proposal. I wish it would have made it, and I wish it would make it through all 50 states, but it did not make it in Tennessee. So
okay.
Let me
should have
get a couple comments in here. Coop says that's why pants on, gun on is so important. Yeah, you'll hear us advocating for POGO, which is pants on, gun on here all the time.
Well, if you just assume I wear pants.
Let's see here.
She could be wearing a skirt.
And he goes, as Spartan 6 just chimed in, that's the way it should be, Charlie, speaking about that Tennessee law.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
CNT says, Tennessee started their special session tonight. Really, Coop and everybody else, I don't expect anything to come out of that Tennessee session. I could be surprised, but there is such huge pushback, and there are people from all over the country on our side showing up there. I know through the DC Project and Amanda that is down there right now. I know there are a lot of people that are there working hard to make sure our rights are protected, and they're meeting with willing to listen ears in the Tennessee State Legislature. I don't really see anything awful happening in Tennessee, but I could be wrong.
I'm a member of the TFA, the Tennessee Firearm Association, and I got an email earlier tonight that said 102 bills were being pushed tonight. So they're not going to have time to get to all this stuff.
No.
You know? And it is great that we have people that are down there, and it's even better that, one, that they're women, and two, that they're our friends.
And three, they're being listened to.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get on to our next DGU here. This one, let's see here. This one out of Houston. So hang on, here we go.
Houston, Texas. A business owner was coming back to his business after a trip to the bank when he was hit in the back of the head. As he turned around, he had two masked men wearing gloves and immediately pulled his firearm and opened fire. An employee heard the commotion and came out of the business, witnessed what was happening, and fired shots at the robbers as well. The self-defense was successful, and the two would-be robbers were pronounced dead at Ruiz Cash and Carry. According to HPD Assistant Chief Chandra Hatcher, they believe the attack was an attempted jugging. A jugging is when robbers follow the victim from a bank or check-cashing business to steal their money. It scares us just because a situation like that had already happened here, Jacqueline Hernandez, an employee's daughter, said. Her dad, Javier Hernandez, is usually the one who takes cash to the bank. But today it was his boss who did it. He was a little shaken up when we got here, just because he was like, you know, I got lucky, Jacqueline Hernandez said. Police said a third suspect heard the shooting and took off in a newer model black Lincoln Navigator with Texas license plate RTS 3919.
Well, they're going to have to ditch that car real quick. But this is off KHOU. Good on the business owner did get lucky in that he was not knocked out when he was hit on the back of the head. Good on him for practicing pogo and being able to draw and fire at the attackers. And I think you could easily articulate how your life is in danger if somebody comes up and smacks you on the back of the head. That can easily be articulated as a deadly situation.
Absolutely. I mean, listen. What's the old joke? There's only going to be two hits in this fight. I hit you, and you hit the floor. Okay, somebody hits you on the back of the head. You're unconscious. You're out before you hit the ground. You're not able to protect yourself, cover your face, whatever. If you're knocked out and you hit the ground, face first, man, it's bad news.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys had already shown a predilection for violence by initiating it out of the blue like that. There is zero reason to assume that just knocking them out would have been sufficient for them.
Right. I do think it's interesting the place was called the Ruiz Cash and Carry, with the emphasis on carry.
And there was another employee there that was carrying at that time. So apparently this store has a you should carry guns policy. Rather than you can't.
Smart for that.
It would behoove you to carry a gun at this business.
Good word, behoove. Good word.
If I were to critique what happened, I would say, it looks like someone might want to work on their situational awareness. With these guys could come out of the bat, but not knowing the layout or anything like that, I'm not going to sit here and go, "This is where you screwed up." It's a good excuse, good reminder. Awareness. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of hiding spots. Where someone might.
And Tom froze up.
Tom is officially frozen up.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and we got one more DGU.
Oh, he's back.
Is he back? Okay.
He's back. He's moving.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go on to our third DGU
Or not.
of the night. Yeah. Let's go to our third DGU of the night, and we'll see if Tom is recovered by the time we get back from this one.
Tucson, Arizona. 54-year-old Sandra Tracy was home alone when she heard someone trying to break into her home. She grabbed a gun and fired what she called a warning shot through the window in hopes that it would scare the intruder off. It did not. So she fired a second time and struck the 43-year-old registered sex offender. By the time deputies arrived at the home, they tried to revive the potential intruder, but he died where he lay. He had a lengthy criminal record within Pima County. These included at least 8 charges as early as 2006. These included charges of threatening or intimidating, disorderly conduct, and assault. In the most recent case, he was accused of threatening to cause damage to the property of another. He was also a registered sex offender in Utah and was on the registry in Arizona.
Nice guy.
He's turning his life around. Come on.
Yeah.
43 years old. He's getting his stuff together.
Exactly. What I don't like, the only thing I don't like about this is the warning shot. Let's if you got a 6 gun, if you've got a 357 Magnum with 6 rounds in the cylinder, you're going to waste 1/6 of your ammo on a shot you know will not stop the person. You only hope it makes them turn around and go away. Where's that shot going? Unless you fire it straight down, you have really no idea where that's going to end up. So I do not like warning shots.
This one is particularly egregious to me because it goes through her window. So best case scenario, she has window damage. She's got to stay up all night. She's got to have someone come over the next day, take the next day off work, and then have someone replace the window. I don't know how much it costs to replace a window. I can't imagine it's less than a couple $100 plus the inconvenience of everything. So she too should take a little bit more training. But it is good that she got the second shot on the registered sex offender. If we register anything, it should be sex offenders, not guns and magazines.
Amen. And
by the way, the registered sex offender still is out committing crimes.
Well, this particular one, not anymore. He took the room temperature challenge or the yard temperature challenge.
Right. Right. He left the building feet first.
Yes. But, good on her. Her second shot appeared to be a very accurate one and took care of the threat. So, good for her on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know anywhere else where we can go with that one, so...
No, don't fire warning shots. Don't shoot your own property, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Call the police, get them on 911, and then wait for the guy to break in the house before you shoot him.
Dana says, sounded like the second shot was through the same window. Possibly.
Well, look, it's already broken.
Yeah.
It can't get more broke.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to go ahead and step aside for our final break. When we come back, if Tom's still with us, the three of us will talk about what's going on with media. If Tom's not back, Charlie and I will do it. But we will be back after we hear from JPFO again. Right back, right after this.
In 1928, Germany required its citizens to register their firearms, making possible Hitler's 1938 Nazi Weapons Act, disarming all Jews. Now ask yourself, what is the real consequence of registration? All in favor of gun control, raise your right hand. Brought to you by Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, America's aggressive civil rights organization. JPFO.org.
All right, we are back. It does appear that Tom is still frozen.
Tom is not.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get this comment in about warning shots. Robert says, ammo is too expensive for warning shots. Oh, yeah, especially if you're talking defensive ammo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, listen, we also talk about how you should assume that every round that you fire in self-defense has an attorney attached to it.
Yes, very much so. Very, very much so. I'll do a little bit of work here, just a second. And I need to add that there and go over to that. And then I need to, let's see here. I lost the other one, so...
Hey, Tom's
yay.
back.
Is he back?
Or not.
Finally.
Nope. Yay.
All right, well, with this segment, what we normally do is we talk about what's been going on around media, and there's one other topic we need to cover. And let's, first of all, Charlie, I'm going to throw to you what, because I want you to talk about what you've been doing in media. That's going to lead us to our second topic. What do you got that's coming out or has come out recently, bud?
All right, so tomorrow I have an episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and the pastor on the show is Robin Bartlett. He is an author and a Vietnam veteran. His book is about his Vietnam experience, and the unique thing about his book is he has all of the letters he wrote to his parents when he was a young guy in Vietnam, and he put them all in, his mother left them in the envelopes. He put them all in chronological order, and took him about 10 years to write the book, but he's got the book and his account of what happened, and then the letters that he sent his parents. So that's going to be coming out tomorrow on Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This weekend is going to be a big hoopla just south of Boston. The Gun Owners Action League is doing their 2A Freedom Celebration, and there are going to be a number of our friends are going to be at this event. Cam Edwards is making a video. John Petrolino is making a video because these guys can't make it in person. But Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets is going to be there. Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works and Rapid Radio is going to be there. Patrick Collins from thegunfood.com is going to be there. Our own Carrie-Anne Auclair from the DC Project and obviously from Polite Society Podcast is going to be there. And Amanda Suffolkul from Everything and Everywhere will be there. And I am going to be one of the speakers as well. So this is going to be great. I am, we say all the time that going to SHOT Show, going to Gun Rights Policy Conference and AmCon and the NRA meetings, we say that it's a family reunion, and I used to never get that until I went to my second one. But I'm so glad we're going to have a family reunion like this with the Gun Owners Action League here just outside of Boston this coming Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see everybody.
Well, and I think Amanda needs to switch from getting frequent flyer miles with American Airlines and Delta and whoever else. I think she needs to get on board with the military so she can get on board those supersonic jets, because she has so many
right.
places that when she lands and she's done south of Boston, she doesn't have to get into a car and go to the airport and get on a plane. She can just jump on a military transport, get to the Air Force base and get off to the next place she's got to be. It'd save her hours and hours and hours. So.
Oh my gosh, she's got a crazy week. She's in Nashville today. She's going to Georgia to see Brian and Shelley Hill from the Complete Combatant tomorrow. I think she's going home on Wednesday. She's got stuff Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then at the crack of dawn, probably before the crack of dawn, she's going to be flying into Boston. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. It's for me, it feels like worlds colliding because it's all my local people with all my friends from around the country.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tom, have we got your audio?
There we go.
I don't know, do we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So, Tom, if I could have
you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. If I could have you, if you would please promote some of what you've recently written, maybe some of what's coming up, and where people can find your stuff.
Okay, sure. I got a stuff coming up. Hold on, let's look at what I got slated for tomorrow. Let's see. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Tennessee because, well, that's kind of the big Second Amendment story right now. talking about some changes for New York State. Gonna slap around the ATF director. We're talking about cracking down on ghost guns. Ooh, some stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So, I got that. Over at the Fourth Rail, I'm going to be talking about some Second Amendment stuff. I think it was Everytown had released a video earlier this, all kinds of misinformation. I intend to shred it. Good Lord, is it filled with stupid.
Yeah, and go. I do have in the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments as well. I do have links to the Fourth Rail YouTube channel. So go ahead and go click there in just a few minutes when we're out of here, and go check out what Tom's done. A lot of good stuff there.
I got to say, you just brought up shredding the Dettelbach there. I have a picture of Petrolino and I at SHOT Show from this year. We went to some seminar that Dettelbach was doing, and I have a picture of both of us sleeping right through it.
I remember that picture. I think I saw that one.
The guy's an engaging speaker, I'll say that.
Oh, jeez. Wanted to poke my own eyes
Beetle
out.
Doc.
All right.
Beetle Doc.
Right. Jesus Wins / Bird of Michigan says, gotta hit the rack. Well, Bird of Michigan, Jesus Wins, all you gotta do to make sure you get to sleep is load up audio of that talk that Charlie and John Petrolino were at.
It cures insomnia.
All right.
Nice.
Let's,
at least he's good for something for a change.
Yeah. I scrolled, so let me go back to our show notes and find out where I'm supposed to be at. And that is going to wrap up another episode of the Second Amendment Foundation's Polite Society podcast. I'd like to thank the one and only Tom Knighton, the attitude behind BearingArms.com, for joining us today. So for Amy, Dana, John, Susan, Amanda, Charlie, Carrie Ann, and Rob,
until next time,
stay safe,
be aware,
and we'll see you down the road.
The views and opinions on the show you just heard are those of the host and the guest and are not necessarily the views of any sponsors or other affiliations. But hey, not everyone is as smart as we are.
Okay, recording for the podcast is done. We're still live on YouTube and Facebook. And I got to say, I really wish, the way the show is programmed in my broadcast software, it would shut down the close of the show if I were to put up pictures of anything other than just me solo when we're running. I just wish I could have put a picture of Tom up as that closing music was playing. That was classic. So,
air guitar, man. I am a master at air guitar.
I'm telling you. All right. I
can't play a real one in my life.
I do want to invite everybody. Do come join me Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for instances of the bullet. Wednesday night there will be no bullet, as I'm going to be hip deep in conference calls for AMCON and GRPC that night from basically close to 5 o'clock in the evening Central Time until bedtime. So that's going to do it for us today. Do come join me tomorrow and Thursday on for the rest of the week. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody who commented, and we will see you